Chapter 41. Her enthusiasm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I can't wait to become an official detective. How to be an official detective then? Veronica urged him. This way, I can find out the reason behind Sister Ruth's death. She seemed very confident about her skills as a detective. Arthur was amused by her words. He answered, all you have to learn is basic fighting skills and catch some criminals to get the king's approval. If you can do this, you will be the first detective in Utahill and the first female detective in the world. Veronica stuttered, the king's approval. Can I even meet him? The king of this country wasn't that easy to meet with. Moreover, the commoners hardly had a chance to see their kind. Even living in the temple, she had no idea how the king looked like. Forget about approval, how could she meet the most distinguished person in the kingdom? Arthur raised an eyebrow. Is this what you are worried about? I thought you would be more worried about learning how to fight. Oh, I should be worried about that. Except for fighting with children, she had never fought anyone. It was something to worry about indeed. You should forget about becoming a detective. After all, you trust people too easily. In your eyes, everyone is a good person. And a detective's first task is to be suspicious of every single person who was related to the crime, victim, and the criminal. This kind of job is not for you. If the criminal put on a smiling face, your heart will melt easily. Veronica put her arms on her waist and objected, hey, I'm not that dumb. Arthur crossed his arms and stated, after seeing you with Max, I think that's exactly how you will act. N. Truthfully, I doubt the same thing. I will not. I will doubt everyone including you if you are connected to any crime. Humph. Veronica looked away in anger. Arthur's expression changed. He looked dejected. He said, will you really do that? Ah, I'm hurt. I can't believe I was feeding milk to a snake. Veronica became nervous. Ah, I didn't mean it that way. I was just saying it. It was a joke. I would never distrust you. Upon hearing her words, Arthur smirked. I knew it. See. You trust people too easily. Why that you were joking with me? Veronica couldn't believe he was acting just now. It was so real. Her facial expression was hilarious. She looked dumbfounded and angry at the same time. Don't get mad. I had to let you know what kind of person you are. It's not that it's bad. I think it's admirable that you think positively about everything. However, it's better if you don't blindly follow anything. Arthur changed the subject before her temper got any worse. Anyway, what are you going to do with this diary? He swung the diary in front of her face. What do you think I will do? Veronica snatched the diary from his hand and said, I will take it with me. When I find the truth, you have to change the view of me. Arthur's face was full of smiles. Hey now, I'm not saying you are bad. In my eyes, you are a gentle, brave, and stunning woman. I'm telling the truth. I don't believe you. Veronica seemed a bit strict. She looked at the clock and stated, I think I should leave now. I have to wake up at dawn. As she turned to leave, Arthur captured her hand and pulled her toward him. Veronica's back touched his warm chest. Her heart skipped a bit as she felt a familiar warmth and a unique odor. She felt his breaths touching her slender neck and she trembled. It seemed her brain was sleeping. Without getting any signal from her brain, she couldn't move. It was like her legs were rooted on the spot. As if the time had stopped. Her heart was beating faster. She didn't know why she was feeling like this. Her heart was in a mess. Arthur placed his chin on her shoulder and spoke in a deep voice, why don't you stay here tonight? From her open mouth, a quivering sound escaped. Veronica didn't dare to face him. Her body froze. Arthur mentioned, I will wake you up tomorrow at dawn without a mistake. You don't have much time anyway. Don't you want to sleep in a comfortable bed? As if he was coaxing her to agree with his suggestion, he added, I will cook you something delicious with meat. Meat. Veronica's tongue watered. Arthur further added, you can borrow some books too. She could eat meat stew once a month. To be able to eat something she liked, she couldn't miss the chance. Moreover, she could read some romantic books. Could she miss this chance? Veronica had to agree to this tempting invitation. All right, I will stay. Just remember to wake me up at 5. Splendid. Let me show you your room. Arthur moved away from her and walked toward the door. Ha! Only then Veronica realized that she was holding her breath. Her heart was still thumping quickly. She followed him as though she was hypnotized. Arthur let her stay in the same room she stayed in before. That was his own bedroom. He said, there is only one bedroom here. Make yourself comfortable. Veronica hesitated before asking, where will you sleep? I have lots of work to finish in the library. Don't worry. I've taken a nap in the afternoon. Arthur paused before adding, I will sleep if you invite me to join you. In a second, Veronica's face turned red. Playboy. She slammed the door shut. I can't believe his guts, she thought. She sat on the bed and placed her hands on her chest. She felt her heartbeat. She told herself, calm down, heart. Why am I feeling like this? So weird. She couldn't calm down for a long time. When she did, she fell asleep. After that, someone quietly opened the door and walked into the room without making a noise. Chapter 42. Wake up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The dark shadow moved closer to the sleeping Veronica. She was soundly asleep. That's why she heard nothing. The shadow moved away, realizing she wouldn't wake up anytime soon. Something went under her pillow and fumbled for a while until it touched something hard. After getting what it wanted, the dark shadow left the room. Arthur went back to his study and opened the diary of Sister Ruth. In front of Veronica, he couldn't check some things. He wanted to test something. He didn't want to do it in front of Veronica. He sat on the chair and lit up the candle. Then, he put an open page of the diary in front of the light. Slowly, a dark mark started to become visible. The corner of his lips rose. I knew it, he thought. Some parts of the diary were written in invisible ink. That's why he had to use light and high temperature to make it visible. Fire could give both light and the temperature he wanted. Now, he could read everything in detail. The person she was seeing was a man. She fell in love with him. They had mutual feelings. Later, that man proposed to her. She was delighted. She wrote in detail about him. How they spent their time. How they dreamed about the future. After that, the pages were torn. The last line before the pages was torn was, I wish I knew at that time and warned him beforehand. What does she mean by that? Arthur furrowed his eyebrow. What could have happened? Why did she want to warn him? For what reason? His long fingers tapped on the desk in rhythm. The torn pages were impossible to read. The last remaining pages were mostly empty. He didn't put more hopes in but still decided to check page by page. On the last page, there was one passage he got to read, I can't hide anymore. I can't put the temple in danger. They are coming. They are. Why didn't she finish writing? Could it be that she was killed right after that, so that's why she couldn't finish writing? Those who killed her must have torn the pages. Arthur was in deep thought. But it doesn't seem right. They could have taken the diary or completely destroyed it. Why would they tear apart a few pages only? As he was pondering hard, he heard birds chirping gleefully as though they were trying to welcome a new day. Arthur looked outside the window and saw the sun was peeking out from the distance. He looked at the clock and realized it's almost time to wake her up. He didn't notice how the time flew since he was attentively reading the diary. He stood up and went to his bedroom where Veronica was sleeping. Veronica was covering herself with the thin blanket and was in a deep sleep. Arthur didn't have to be careful. Even so, he made no sound when he marched forward and placed the diary where it was before. After that, he stroked her head gently and said in a low voice, "Nika, wake up. It's dawn." Veronica didn't move. She was dreaming about her stilling on a cloud. The cloud was gently floating in the sky. She saw birds were competing against her. She ordered the cloud to move faster. Later, she touched some clouds and they turned cotton candy. She liked sweets. She couldn't help it. With a jovial expression, she began to eat them. From far away, she heard something calling her name, "Nika. It's time to get up. Wake up." Veronica didn't want to listen to that voice. It was so disturbing. She ignored the voice and ate all the sweet clouds. However, suddenly, she couldn't breathe anymore. The beautiful dream turned into a nightmare. She felt like someone was trying to choke her to death. At that time, she heard loud noises and turned back. She saw a group of assassins was chasing after her. Terrified, Veronica wanted to catch something but she fell from the cloud. She tried to scream aloud but she couldn't. She was so scared that she couldn't do anything. In fear, she shut her eyes tightly. Once again, she heard, "Nika, wake up." This time, the voice was clear. Veronica's eyes flew open. In a thin light, she could see someone looking at her up close. She blinked a few times and her vision gradually cleared. "Arthur," she muttered. Her voice sounded weird. Arthur took off his fingers which were pinching her nose. It momentarily made her stop breathing and she woke up. "What were you dreaming? You looked scared." "I was being chased. I couldn't breathe." "Wait, this is all your fault. You are the one who was pinching my nose." Veronica rubbed her pitiful nose and blamed him. Her pale nose turned red under his assault. "I was trying to wake you up but you didn't listen. What if you blame me for not waking you up?" Arthur sat beside her on the bed. "Do you want to take a bath? You look sweaty. What time is it?" Veronica yawned and stretched her arms. Arthur stared at her beautiful form as he replied, "It's almost 5. "Great, I can take a bath." "You better prepare the breakfast you promised me," Veronica warned him. Arthur's lips were holding back laughter. "As you wish." After taking a bath, Veronica went to the kitchen. A delicious smell entered her nostrils. Her mouth watered up in a second. Her stomach cried out noisily. "Hungry already?" Arthur chuckled. He took off the apron and served her the dishes. "This is a beef curry. Eat it with bread." Veronica didn't have time to rebuke him. Her eyes were on the food. "It smells so good. Have your fill." "Ah, it's so spicy. My tongue." Veronica stuck out her tongue and tried to cool off her tongue in the cold breeze. It felt like someone lit a fire on her tongue. She was going to the temple. The curry was so spicy that her tongue was still burning. Arthur commented from behind, "This isn't spicy. I added a pinch of chili powder. I would never make any food spicy for breakfast." Veronica could barely reply, "We eat plain food without adding any spices. Sometimes, our chef adds herbals and that's it. Never had anything so hot." "Phew. That makes sense," Arthur remarked. Afterward, he silently observed her. When they almost reached the destination, he abruptly held her arm. Veronica was surprised by his sudden action and turned around. "What's wrong?" she asked. "When will we meet again?" he questioned her. Chapter 43. To the Rosemary Temple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. "When will we meet again?" he questioned her. Thinking that she would think he was being too forward, he added in a gentle voice, it's not that I'm worried about the books you borrowed. I have plenty of copies left. I was wondering since you seldom go out. Come to me when you go out. I'm worried about you. The warmth of his body shifted to her body. Her cool body gradually became warm. Even her face felt hot. His magnetic voice sent shivers in her heart. Just like when he pulled her closer and her heartbeat increased, she was feeling the same way right now. However, thinking of the training, she didn't know how long she would be training in that secluded place. The prospect of not being able to go out for an indefinite period cooled down her heart. Veronica gave him a forced smile and answered his question, after I finish reading these books, I will come to give them back. You have to prepare something delicious again. I promise, he swore. His hand let her arm go. Veronica could still sense his warmth and touch. Her heart squeezed tightly, making her unable to breathe properly. She turned around quickly so that he wouldn't see her expression and hurried to the temple. Arthur gazed at her back which was vanishing behind the buildings. He lowered his head and gazed at his hand that was holding her arm a few seconds ago. He sensed her body trembling when he touched her. The lingering feelings slowly disappeared. He was only left with some memories. Head priest, may the goddess bless the light upon you. Veronica bowed respectfully. Good, you are on time. The head priest smiled at her and closed the book he was reading. He stood up and covered himself with a worn-out shawl. He grabbed a wooden staff and declared, let's go to our destination. Yes, Veronica followed him as he began to walk. The temple and their small kingdom were saved from the cold harsh winter by the mountain range, Als. It took them 30 minutes to reach the mountains which were covered with snow. Veronica shuddered and clutched onto her thick coat. Nonetheless, a cold wind blew through her clothes. The head priest walked on the trails. He was walking at a brisk pace. Suddenly he halted and turned around to see where she was. He found her far behind him. Her face was red and her pace was slowing down. You have to walk quickly to keep your body warm, child, he shouted aloud. Why? Yes. Veronica trembled and quickened her pace. Soon, they reached an empty place. There was a huge wall in front of them. They paused. Head priest, are we lost? Veronica asked in fear. She would be damned if they were lost. She wasn't sure if she could hold her anxiousness any longer. Without answering her, the head priest stepped close to the wall and touched the wall. His fingers were turning white. He mumbled some ancient words that she never heard. Veronica was impatient. She walked in a circle in the narrow place to keep herself warm. She also jumped and swung her legs. All of a sudden, she heard a heavy sound. As if stones were breaking. She immediately turned around. Her eyes became so big that they could pop out at any moment. She saw the mountain wall was cracking where the head priest touched. The cracking spread swiftly. The dust and snow mixed together and swirled in front of them. Veronica closed her eyes. She heard noises and her heart shuddered. When everything had quieted down, she opened her eyes. The wind cleared up and the scenery before her was too magical to be true. She saw the entrance. The huge stone door had appeared on the mountain wall. It was closed, blocking them to go further. The head priest recited something again in an ancient language and then raised his wooden staff and pulled it down with great force. The tip of the staff touched the ground and a strong gust of wind pushed the lock of the door. Even Veronica was pushed back by the strong gust of wind. What was that? She wondered with a shaky heart. She had never faced such a strong force of the wind. She didn't have the time to think about that. She saw the door slowly opening. She became excited the moment her eyes landed on what was behind that door. Let's head inside, the head priest stated. Sure, Veronica finally moved her legs and went inside. The moment they set foot inside, they began to feel warm. Inside the mountain was warm and cozy. Their cool bodies gradually became warm. After they came inside, the door behind them closed, cutting them off from the outside world. The fire was lit up here and there. It helped them in a dark place. They walked in the breeze. "Welcome to the Rosemary Temple," the head priest said. He was amused by the wandering eyes of Veronica. He stated, "This is the oldest temple in the world. The most ancient temple. From now on, this place will be your new home." Veronica's eyes looked back and forth. Aside from the breeze and ancient fire torches, there was nothing else. The tall pillars starting from up above went down to who knows where. She looked down at the breeze and couldn't see the bottom. It seemed endless. Thank goodness there were handrails for support, or I would have fallen to goddess knows where, she thought. She moved away from the stone handrail and said, "The designs are so complicated. How did people manage to do it?" The head priest replied, "The legend says more than 10,000 men worked together to build this temple. You can feel their love and devotion for the goddess Juvina through their hard work." He was right. Even Veronica could feel it. She marched forward and admired the marksmanship. The breeze had ended and they entered into a room. The room was spacious and empty. They had passed several rooms and all were the same. After passing the 10th room, there was a closed door. The head priest pushed the stone door and a strong light hit them. Chapter 44. And they met. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Veronica closed her eyes the moment the strong white light hit her eyes. She had never seen such a pure light before. She felt as if her body was being purified by the light. She began to feel lighter. She could even see the light through her eyelids. When she finally noticed the light starting to fade away, she opened her eyes. And then she was awestruck by the enormous beauty standing in the middle of the room. She was entirely covered in a cream-colored dress. Her long curly blonde hair was shining. Her blue eyes were unmoved. Her pink lips were sealed. 13 candles were placed in a circle around her. She seemed to be glowing, just like goddess Juvina. Her pink lips opened shortly and a honey-dripped voice floated to her ears, "Welcome to Rosemary Temple, Veronica." Veronica was in a daze. That woman's voice was ringing in her ears. Ahem. The head priest loudly cleared his voice. This expression of hers wasn't new to him. Everyone would be dumbstruck in the presence of the most beautiful woman in the kingdom. The high-pitched sound was so unnatural in this place. It broke her trance. Veronica dumbfoundedly looked at the head priest before realizing who she was standing in front of. She quickly bowed and said in a quivering voice, "Saint Ava, may the goddess bless the light upon you. I cannot thank you enough for taking me as your disciple. I'm honored to have you as my mentor." She was so excited that her legs were shaking. She never felt this kind of strong presence before. Mentor. Saint Ava confusedly glanced at Veronica before shifting her gaze to the head priest. She questioned him, "Didn't you tell her?" The head priest scratched his head. "I didn't have that much time to explain." Veronica looked up and asked, "Explain what?" "I'm not your mentor. The palace isn't ready for another healer. Also, the presence of your power is too weak to let senior healers take you under their wings. Therefore, we decided to let you live for the time being. You can practice using your power whenever it's needed." My power isn't strong enough." Veronica turned into a statue. She couldn't believe it. When the head priest was talking to her yesterday, she thought she had some great power and it made her feel like she was the king of this world. "Your power is so weak that I could barely sense it. I couldn't track where the power came from. All I could find out was that the healer was you." "No way." The statue of Veronica started to disappear. Just as she thought, she was expecting too much and got hurt. It was a huge blow from the person she admired. It hurt like hell. Her pride was torn into millions of pieces. You don't have to be hard on her, the head priest defended the newbie, seeing her poor state. He felt a bit sorry for her. No, it's fine. I can take this harsh truth. It's good to know my ability, or else I would get hurt later. Her pride was tarnished, and yet Veronica was able to speak up for the righteous path. After that, she mumbled, "So, this is what they call cruel fate. This is absolutely a tragedy." The head priest and Saint Ava were speechless. They wondered from where she learned such unique words. Unlike her, they weren't fortunate enough to meet anyone who could lend them romantic fiction. Even if someone did lend them those books, they wouldn't probably read them. Veronica clenched her fists and looked at Saint Ava with determination. "I promise I will work hard under your care and become the healer you want me to be." "I want you to be." Saint Ava repeated her words and smiled faintly. "Your name is Veronica, right?" As Veronica nodded, Saint Ava continued, "You shouldn't promise so randomly when you can't keep it. The way I see it, it will take at least 100 years for you to be able to become the healer I want." "What?" Veronica's heart dropped. She couldn't think of anything before she heard Saint Ava adding, "Well, it might take 50 years or so if you keep practicing without eating, sleeping and bathing." Veronica cupped her head and shouted, "No way." Cough. Cough. The head priest butted in. "I don't think she is that bad. She first used her power when she was 8 and she frequently healed animals." Being supported by him, Veronica glanced at Saint Ava with expectation. "Animals inside the temple?" Saint Ava questioned him. "Those animals couldn't possibly get injured by an arrow or experience anything close to a severe injury." Veronica's shoulders slumped. Saint Ava was right. Those birds and animals weren't severely injured. What was I expecting? There is no way I could be better. I only used my healing power on a man for the first time." The head priest placed his hand over her head upon seeing her downcast face. "Don't lose hope. There were many healers worse than you. You see her," he signaled her with his eyes at Saint Ava, "she started to have healing power at the age of 30. She was the oldest healer in her class and everyone mocked her for it. Even if she was a late bloomer, she surpassed all the tests and became the saint we all respect." Saint Ava calmly spoke, "It only happened because I hated to lose to those who mocked me. It's not that I'm special." "That's not true." Veronica objected. "When I first saw you, I felt pure light going through my veins. I felt lighter. Yes, you might have worked hard. It's admirable. However, if you didn't have a pure heart to begin with, you would never become a saint. You could never shower us with your pure light." The head priest smiled kindly at her words. He then stole a glance at Saint Ava. Saint Ava's eyes met his and she averted her gaze. "It's almost time. Since you walked here from the temple, you must be hungry. Let's have some breakfast." Growl. Chapter 45. Garden of the Mountain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Growl. As if Veronica's stomach could understand, it cried out in pure joy upon hearing the word food. Veronica ducked her head shyly and apologized, "Sorry, I'm a bit hungry." The head priest controlled his laughter and urged the ladies, "Let's go then." Finally, something to eat, Veronica thought. But soon, once again, her expectations dropped to zero, seeing only some common fruits like apples, oranges, peaches, tangerines, mandarins, and nectarines. They were gathered on the round stone table in the middle of the room. There were 13 stone stools around the table. The head priest clapped his hands. "Oh! This is a feast. I knew you would be happy to have a disciple." Saint Ava turned toward him. She still had her poker face on. "What are you talking about? You have prepared so many fresh fruits at dawn. You must be elated to have someone to accompany you after all these years." Saint Ava bluntly denied, "You have got it wrong. I thought you would be hungry after coming all the way here." Which old man has good appetite? Only youngsters like you and Veronica can finish them all. The head priest glanced at Veronica, who was standing in the doorway. Veronica, come child. Have some breakfast. Veronica had a hard time believing them. She thought they were joking. So, she couldn't help but ask, is this breakfast? The head priest readily agreed, yes. You will never find these fruits anywhere. These fruits were picked up from the ancient trees. For some reason, Veronica felt like the head priest had become a lot lively after coming here. It was almost like he came to his own home after a very long time. She sat down on an empty chair across them and showed her curiosity in what he just said, ancient trees. The head priest then told her a story. There is a garden filled with fruit trees. Beside the garden was a tall stone, and it was written on it that the seeds of those trees were given as a present by goddess Javina to the humans so that they can grow fruits and eat them during winter. Back in the days, the winter was too strong. People were dying. That's why goddess Javina helped the humans to create a garden here so that they could eat as much as they wanted. Veronica was amazed by the magnificent story. Garden inside a mountain. I would love to see that. Garden inside a mountain range, would anyone believe in this kind of thing? It seemed too good to be true. Saint Ava responded, I will give you a tour after breakfast. Thank you so much. Veronica's eyes sparkled. I guess we can get lots of vegetables and fruits here. The head priest answered, fruits, yes, plenty. Enough to feed this town. But vegetables, I'm afraid you can't find them here. She couldn't understand his words. What do you mean? Saint Ava elegantly stated, it means exactly what he said. As long as you live here, you have to eat fruits. Ha! Veronica thought her ears betrayed her. They seemed to hear wrong, which gave her a feeling of being misled. The head priest must have caught her odd behavior. He said, well, sometimes, when I drop off, I will bring vegetables and chicken. Veronica asked, when will it be? She sounded so desperate. Once a month, of course. The head priest gave her a hearty smile. I want to leave this place. Veronica cried out inwardly. All these years, she had eaten vegetables and fruits. Once a month, she would get the chance to eat meat provided by the palace. After coming here, she would have to eat fruits daily, and once a month, she would be able to eat vegetables and meat. That reminded her of Arthur's homemade sandwich and beef curry. As if her stomach could understand her pain, it cried out loudly. Growl, you must be hungry. Eat, eat, here's some more. The head priest added some fruits to her bronze bowl. Veronica cried without tears. I think I have lost my appetite. After breakfast, they went to the garden. Veronica held her breath as she took in the spectacular view of the fruit gardens. From up there, they looked down and saw hundreds of trees. All trees, regardless of their height and number of branches, were filled with countless fruits. And every fruit looked plump with juicy flesh, emitting a faint but delicious aroma. The sunlight lightened up the entire garden. The sunlight came from the up above, the high peaks of the mountains. The birds were chirping to welcome the guests. Butterflies of different shades were flying from one flower to another flower, busy gathering honey. The scenery was breathtaking. Let's go down, Saint Ava said. They climbed down the stairs and reached the ground. Veronica saw a wooden ladder and basket placed in the corner. She realized it was for the saint to pick her meal every day. Looking at the ground filled with grass, she commented, it's hard to believe that fertile soil would be inside the mountain. The head priest remarked, even I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see this with my own eyes. You can feed an entire army with these. Veronica came up with an idea and suggested, it will be wonderful to send these fruits to the hospitals and the army as you were talking about. Saint Ava monotonously spoke, and this way, greedy men's eyes would land on this holy place. As a protector and the guardian of this place, I cannot let that happen. Goddess Jovina told us to use these blessed fruits only when it's necessary. Veronica was downhearted by her attitude. She mumbled, but it's such a waste to throw them away. The head priest said, these fruits won't get spoiled until you pick them. They will stay fresh and juicy as long as they aren't plucked. Isn't this wonderful? Veronica covered her mouth in surprise. That's amazing. She couldn't help but admire Goddess Jovina's creation. She is known for her kind heart and wisdom. She lived up to everyone's expectations. She shared her opinion, it still would be great to share these fruits with others. It's not that other saints and head priests didn't think of that. Actually, our ancestors did share the fruits. But then, some tragic things happened. Chapter 46. Veronica's Training. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 46. Veronica's Training. Veronica shared her opinion, it still would be great to share these fruits with others. The head priest told her, it's not that other saints and head priests didn't think of that. Actually, our ancestors did share the fruits. But then, something tragic had happened. The king back then became greedy. He wanted to take control over the Rosemary Temple. Since the beginning of this kingdom, the king ruled the country and the priests protected the temple. Two powers shouldn't clash. Saint Ava added, the priests tried to stop the king from snatching the temple but they had to pay the price with their blood. There was no one to stop him. What could some monks and nuns do against a weapon and the power? They could only pray. Until one day, our Savior arrived. He defeated the king, ended the lives of his families and supporters, and then became the new ruler of this kingdom. He is the ancestor of the new royal family. Veronica understood. That's the reason why everyone loves and supports the royal family. They are our savior, Henry. She was a bit shocked to find out about this country's dark history from them. When she was reading books, she didn't find anything against the royal families. That's why she didn't know how to react. Saint Ava responded, for generations, they had done nothing but being kind to us, the citizens. There is no reason for people not to love them. Is it because of the war the priests stopped ushering the fruits? Nowadays, not even normal priests can enter this temple, Veronica mentioned. Saint Ava monotonously replied, that is true. King Henry and the remaining priests planned together and burned all the records of this place. Only some of them are left and they are in the forbidden area of the royal palace. Not even the current king can have the right to go inside that area. The keys of the forbidden area belong to me and head priest. Head priest promised to let me enter the forbidden area of the library. I can't wait to find out more. Veronica was excited about that. Saint Ava gazed at the head priest. Her expression was saying that she couldn't believe that it was true. The head priest awkwardly scratched his head and said, I will let you read the books there only if you become a perfect healer. And, you cannot tell anyone about it. Why not? Veronica asked curiously. That's because there are plenty of bad people out there, trying to get their hands on the books of the forbidden area. They might try to harm you to get what they want. Oh. I see. Veronica's face paled. The word harm reminded her of those people in black clothes chasing after her. She didn't want to save the same danger ever again. Don't get too happy just yet, Saint Ava warned her. If you don't manage to learn properly, you will be kicked out of this place. I don't want a lazy bone around me. Yes, of course, Veronica nodded. How could she not agree? She wanted to master her skill as quickly as possible and then leave this place for good. She had made up her mind. Starting from today, she was going to give her best. Veronica, my arm hurts. Heal me, Saint Ava suddenly said. After the head priest bid them farewell, they became alone. To find out the youngster's ability, she decided to test her. Oh, okay. Veronica placed her hands a bit further from Saint Ava's right arm and shut her eyes. She poured the last of her energy to concentrate on healing her. However, no matter how much she tried, no light nor power came out of her palms. She began to wonder, that's weird. Why isn't my power working? Is it because she is trying to test me and not injured? What am I thinking? She is the saint for goddess's sake. It looks like I've become more doubtful after meeting Arthur. I better concentrate. After trying for several times, she gave up. She carefully glanced at the stoic saint and hurriedly looked down. I'm sorry. I can't use my power for some reason, she apologized. I'm well aware of that. Saint Ava didn't seem to be offended. She went back to her room and Veronica followed her. She saw Saint Ava took a sharp blade and sliced her arm. A trail of deep red-colored blood flowed from her wound. Veronica gasped and covered her mouth. Her emerald pupils were quivering in horror. You know, she heard Saint Ava speaking calmly, when you don't have the ability to do anything, you shouldn't blame it on others. Rather, you must confess that you are incapable of doing it. It's a virtue to admit one's incapability. Veronica shivered. She responded with a shaky voice, I understand, but I healed someone back then and you sensed it right. You know I can heal people. Saint Ava refuted, but that's not enough. The power is controlling you. It comes and goes as it pleases. What will happen if someone you love is dying and you cannot heal them? Is this what you want? Thinking of Catherine and Arthur getting hurt, she couldn't do anything to help them, made her feel suffocated. She shouted, No. I don't want it. Then you must learn how to be the master of your power, not its slave. Heal me, Saint Ava ordered her. Veronica once again tried, and this time, a pure light came from her palms. When the light was gone, she saw Saint Ava's bleeding had stopped. She smiled. But then she noticed the mark that was left on her palm remained. Saint Ava furrowed her eyebrows. The weaker your light is, the weaker is your power. A good healer can remove the scars as well. I'm sorry. Can you please heal yourself? Veronica lowered her head. Saint Ava raised an eyebrow. Do you know that? Chapter 47. Her confusion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Saint Ava raised an eyebrow. Do you know that a healer can heal anyone but their own body? I knew. I'm sorry. Veronica wanted to dig a hole and hide herself there. Saint Ava bled because of her and she couldn't do anything. Saint Ava let out a smile. She couldn't foresee this young girl's future. She instructed Veronica, from now on you will do all the chores inside the temple. You will clean every corner of this temple. I don't want to see any dust and you must learn how to take care of the garden from me. After you are done with your chores, you will try healing the scar in my arm. Veronica's jaw dropped. The entire Rosemary Temple would take at least a week to clean for one person. Did it mean she couldn't be able to eat or sleep for a whole week? The thought of not being able to sleep turned her face pale. Sita, can I go back to the temple? I don't want to stay here any longer. She cried out inwardly. Just the day she arrived, she had to start working. At first, she cleaned the prayer hall and a large dining room. When she became exhausted, Saint Ava told her to get the lunch ready. She picked up some fruits from the garden and had lunch with the saint with bitterness. All of a sudden, a thought came to her. She looked at Saint Ava and hesitated before asking, I don't see any furniture here except for this table and the chairs. Could they be stolen during the war? Head priest was talking about, what will a king do with stone-made furniture? Saint Ava took about peach and continued, there was no furniture except for this table and the stools. The priests who lived here didn't need a comfortable life as they dedicated everything to goddess Juvena. Then, what about sleeping? Don't they need the bed? Veronica gulped. She was having a bad feeling about this. They slept on the floor. We all slept on the floor, Saint Ava calmly answered, ignoring her weak voice. Veronica shuddered. No way. She began to miss her hard, wooden bed. She bitterly thought, why did they keep this furniture for? Saint Ava explained, we don't let our bodies have the comfort they seek. If we do that, we become lazy and our conviction toward Goddess Jovina weakens. That's why we decided never to have anything that would make us seek comfort for our bodies. She abruptly asked, do you love people, Veronica? Veronica was stunned by her question but soon answered, why? Yes, yes. I see. Saint Ava glanced at her. Veronica, she continued, if you truly want to become a healer that can save thousands of husbands, brothers, fathers, and sons during the war, you have to learn how to heal them. Those soldiers who fight for their countries and loved ones, you have to protect them. Think about those young maidens, children, and old parents. They will lose their precious family because you don't have the ability to heal them. She added, to gain something, you must lose something. You cannot seek comfort and achieve your goal at the same time. Life isn't a bed of roses. If you think you can do better with a comfortable lie, why couldn't you become a healer already? You couldn't do it because you were always lazing around, goofing off, having fun with friends. Even coming here, you are looking for a good bed and delicious food, right after you promised me you will try your best. She asked her, Veronica, I ask you again. What is your best? What can you do to get what you want? What do you actually want? Veronica stayed silent. Her head lowered automatically. She had no answer. Even her heart had no answer for any of Saint Ava's questions. Saint Ava hit the head of the nail directly. Veronica didn't know what she wanted. She was confused. She did want to heal people but she didn't work hard for it. Didn't that mean being a healer wasn't the thing she wanted in her life? If that's true, what did she want? Saint Ava finished eating and stood up after wiping her mouth. If you can't come up with the answer by tomorrow, please leave. This isn't a place for you. You can go back to the temple and resume your daily life. You must miss your friends. Leave. Veronica looked at her. Questions filling her eyes. However, Saint Ava said no more and left. Staring at her back, she thought how Saint Ava could stay here alone, praying, cleaning, and wiping everything by herself. She was a girl. Wasn't she scared of darkness and ghosts? Veronica was curious but couldn't utter a word. She finished her meal and strode in the garden. Her mind was swirling with questions. She walked into the deepest part of the garden without realizing it. At that time, she heard some birds chirping. She came out of the trance and was startled. She didn't know this place. She realized she walked too deep. However, she didn't have the time to think about it. That's because the view in front of her was magnificent. There was a giant tree in front of her. She couldn't see the peak of this tree. There was no fruit in that tree. The branches spread far away and the roots of the tree were big enough to sit there. It was standing in the ground with its head holding high and ever so gloriously. If the tree wasn't a splendid sight, the flower bed under the tree was the most spectacular sight she had ever seen. There were multicolored flowers and butterflies were all over the place. The faint scents of the flowers mixed and it created a mesmerizing smell. Veronica inhaled sharply and she felt refreshed. She suddenly understood something. There was no reason for Saint Ava to be scared of darkness and ghosts. There was no way she would get tired or bored living here. This was the home of Goddess Jovina. The goddess herself was protecting her children who lived here. Goddess Jovina gave them life, peace, love, and a wonderful world to live in. It was only natural for the priests to be devoted to her and do their best to make her wish to come true. At that moment, Veronica understood what it truly meant by love and devotion. And, she had made up her mind. Chapter 48. Veronica's Answer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 48. Veronica's answer, that was quick. Have you come up with a decision? Saint Ava inquired. It was evening. The sun had already set. The seemingly golden rays of evening light had started disappearing on the horizon. Even the fire of the torches had begun to extinguish. The Rosemary Temple gradually became darker and darker. So, she ignited the largest fire torch that was situated in the middle of an empty hall. The fire gradually spread and made other fire torches lit up since they were all connected. At that time, her new disciple came in front of her. Veronica's eyes were calm. They didn't look as excited and restless as before. Her emerald orbs shone in the golden light. She opened her mouth and said, "I'm not leaving. I will stay." Saint Ava said nothing. She put down the torch and walked toward the prayer room. Without turning back, she asked, "What made you change your mind?" Veronica was ashamed of her thoughts and actions. The head priest saved her from Sister Josephine's punishment, brought her to the Rosemary Temple and showed her a new path. Saint Ava didn't have to take her in, but she did and wanted her to be a healer worthy of her trust. She even shed blood in order to teach her. And, all she had been thinking about was having a leisure life. She didn't think about their efforts at all. "I'm the worst," that's what she told herself. "I wasn't prepared to live a life as a healer. I let you down." "I'm sorry," Veronica bowed respectfully. Saint Ava responded, "I didn't want to hear your apology. I want an answer." Veronica raised her head and gazed at her. "Yes, I won't delay my training any longer. I will not step a foot out of this place until I become a healer you expect me to be. I will diligently work and eat whatever food you give me without any complaints. I want to help people as much as possible, whether it's a friend, stranger, or enemy." Saint Ava carefully observed her as she spoke. After she was done talking, she smiled faintly. "Fine, do as you wish." Veronica had never seen such a radiant smile before. Her heart almost dropped to the floor. A/N. I'm not sure, but it can be the beginning of Yuri XD. For the next few months, Veronica completely devoted herself to the training. She cleaned the whole temple during the day, and at night, she trained herself until she fell asleep. At first, she did have a hard time with carrying out the chores in the temple. After all, she was the only one doing all the works. Sometimes, she couldn't even finish her daytime chores in time. And, this always brought hindrance to her training time at night. However, 2 months later, her body improved significantly. She learned to conserve her energy over time and began to feel less tired. The fruits in the mountains helped her to gain more energy, and she could feel it. The best part was that she was able to change herself the way she wanted to. She began to love this place. She had no complaints about the juicy fruits. She wasn't scared walking alone in this temple as she began to get familiar with it and its surroundings. Slowly, she began to get used to this place. Sometimes, she missed Catherine and everyone in the temple. Nonetheless, she hardened her heart. While training, she pushed herself to her limits as it reminded her of the outside world. Despite loving this place, she didn't forget that she wanted to roam around the world one day and see the beauty of this breathtaking world. The problem lied with her power. She wasn't improving as much as she thought she would. It could be because she was tired after all the chores and so she couldn't concentrate. Since the beginning, that's what she thought. When Saint Ava realized what her problem was, she mentioned her weakness. "You are blaming your strength when you should blame your mind before training it to concentrate hard." "I'm sorry," Veronica apologized. Another night, Saint Ava lectured her, "Focus on your heart. You have to make your heart believe that you truly want to heal someone and use your inner strength to pour your pure energy in healing." "Yes, yes." Veronica kept nodding. Another week later, Saint Veronica remarked, "Your hands are shaking." "I'm sorry. I'm nervous." Veronica nearly cried. How long had it been since she was practicing? She still couldn't heal the scar on Saint Ava's arm. Saint Ava told her, "Calm your heart." Another month of training passed. And in a certain morning, Saint Ava suddenly asked her in an offended tone, "Where do you think you are looking at?" "I'm sorry." Veronica hurriedly moved her eyes to the injured arm. The cut was too deep to be healed so easily and she wasn't powerful enough to heal it completely. Moreover, Saint Ava always cut the same place where she got wounded before. It almost made Veronica feel all hopeless, as though she was ordered to carry out the most impossible task available. Even so, Veronica didn't give up. She kept trying harder. Once, Saint Ava asked, "Why are your eyes closed? You have to keep your eyes open." "I'm sorry, ma'am." Veronica opened her eyes and looked at the injury. What could she do? She felt so guilty looking at the bloody arm every day. Just like that, 6 months had passed. And Veronica continued her training. One day, an eagle came through the small opening in the mountain. It had a small paper tied to its leg after being folded to the smallest size possible. The eagle directly flew to the prayer room and found Saint Ava like a trained intelligent bird. Saint Ava unbound the paper and unfolded it. After reading the small note, her expression turned grave. Veronica was wiping the floor. She saw the note and questioned her, "A letter from the temple." Saint Ava shortly answered, "From head priest." "What did he say?" Veronica inquired. Saint Ava responded, "Something terrible happened. He wants your aid." Chapter 49. A message from the head priest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Saint Ava shortly answered, "From head priest." "What did he say?" Veronica inquired. Saint Ava responded, "Something terrible happened. He wants your aid." Veronica was confused. "My aid? As in my healing power?" She was still under training and there was no official report sent to anyone that she was ready to become a healer. Then why so suddenly? Saint Ava slightly frowned. Her beautiful brows pinched together in obvious displeasure. She seemed offended by Veronica's question. "What else are you good at? Do you think he will call for you because you are good at wiping dirty floors? They already have plenty of people to do that. You don't have to say that to me like that." Veronica sulked. While she was being trained by Saint Ava, they had become quite close. "You said you would become good at healing and learn everything needed diligently, but the way I see it, you have just become a good maid in these past 6 months. Saint Ava glanced at her arm. "Well, at least the scar is completely gone. Didn't I do well?" Veronica felt proud whenever she thought about it. Saint Ava didn't give her much space to joy over this little accomplishment of hers. "It's only because I didn't cut my arm today. I feel weak after losing so much blood already. Always hurting my weak point," Veronica thought. She scratched her head. "I did tell you to teach me another way." Saint Ava pointed out another weakness. "And you cannot use your power without seeing an injury. Even now." "I'm sorry." Veronica apologized and bowed deeply. She didn't want to get another death blow from her. Saint Ava moved her hand as if to shoo her away. "Enough. Pack a pouch of fruits and leave immediately." "Am I being kicked out?" Veronica pondered, feeling confused and heartbroken. No matter what Veronica thought, the situation seemed utterly serious. She could sense it. She set out on her journey to the temple after saying her farewell to Saint Ava. At first, she had a hard time adjusting herself to the sunlight. The weak sunlight was too much to bear after spending 6 months inside the temple. Thus, she covered her head with the hood. The cold breeze and snow in the mountain path weren't helping her either. She lost her way twice before reaching the temple. The temple seemed quieter than usual. Everyone in the temple was busy working, but their faces were unexceptionally gloomy. In that atmosphere, it was hard to even breathe. This always happened when someone died. Veronica had a bad feeling about this. The other priests and priestesses saw her but they didn't bother talking to her. They only gave her a slight nod and she did the same in return. Veronica directly went in the direction of the inner temple. She found the head priest praying in the prayer room. She sat on a chair close to the door and waited for him to finish praying. When he was done, he turned around and saw her. He stared at her and then signaled her to go out with him. She silently followed him to an empty room. After they entered the room, he closed the door. Veronica looked around and realized that it was the head priest's office. There were lots of books in the bookshelves, neatly perched along the four walls of the chamber. And, sitting in the middle of the room was a big wooden table. It was surrounded by so many chairs. In spite of being curious of the letter he sent her, she greeted him first, "Head priest, may the goddess bless the light upon you bdnvldm likewise. Child, how is your training going?" The head priest went to the business straightly. Veronica hesitated before answering, "It's not the way I expected it to be." The head priest sat on the chair and allowed her to sit as well. Veronica fidgeted with her fingers and then asked him, "Did something happen? You sent an urgent message and everyone looks upset." The head priest confessed, "Something terrible indeed happened. That's why everyone is upset." Veronica gulped. She had never seen someone donning this kind of sorrowful expression. What happened? Did someone? She couldn't utter the word "die" to finish her speculation. The head priest looked at her and let out a deep sigh. "We just heard a piece of news. Half of the healers just disappeared a week ago." "I beg your pardon." Veronica couldn't understand his words, yet her heart was thumping loudly. The head priest narrated shortly, "As you know, the healers are always hired by other kingdoms at the time of war. Right now, a war is going on between Riverhill and Senetia." "Riverhill and Senetia?" Veronica mumbled. She took a trip down to memory lane and tried to remember where she heard those names. And she did. Wait, aren't they neighbors? Why are they fighting? She remembered that Riverhill and Senetia were the north countries. There is a mountain range, the Alps, between Utah Hill and Senetia. Senetia is a bigger country than Utah Hill. Situated on the right side of Senetia is the country Riverhill, the kingdom of rivers. These three large countries depend on Riverhill for water supply. It's a large country with a strong army. It's a powerful nation. The head priest responded, "It's because they both set their eyes on the barren land between the two kingdoms. It belongs to no one. It's a desert. A desert tribe lives there." Veronica asked him, "What does it have to do with our healers? Did they hire our healers?" The head priest gave a nod. "That's right. Both Senetia and Riverhill hired huge numbers of healers. They both took the best healers by paying a huge sum of money. It just shows how serious they are. The royal palace is almost empty. Only a few senior healers and newbies are living there." He added, "The fight was bloody. It had been going on for more than 2 months. Everything was normal but then suddenly something terrible happened. At night, in the camp of Senetia, a light came from who knew where and swallowed almost all the healers that Senetia hired from us. They are missing for a week." Chapter 50. Their conversation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A light came out of nowhere and swallowed almost all the healers that Senetia hired from us. They are missing for a week. 2 sentences kept ringing a bell in Veronica's ears. She did her best to understand what the head priest told her but she couldn't figure out the logic behind his words. In the end, she couldn't stand it anymore and asked him, "How can a strange light make people disappear?" The head priest shook his head, feeling helpless. "We don't know. This matter is being investigated by the investigators of Senetia. In the midst of the war, losing healers means defeat. No matter how strong an army is, it cannot withstand without the help of the healers. Moreover, the casualties will increase. So many people will lose their lives. He added, if it was the worst part, people would sigh in relief. But Sinisha sent another envoy with a huge sum of gold coins. They want more healers. I'm not ready to lose another soul. Veronica's heart was shaking. Her voice quivered as she spoke. What do you mean you have lost, head priest? They haven't died, right? The head priest commented with a grave expression. I have to think about the worst possibilities. That's horrible. Veronica couldn't accept it. There were at least 50 people who went missing and they had friends and families. How would they feel about missing their loved ones like that? A sudden thought came to her mind and she inquired, what about the tribal people? They have the right to live in the place they were born. If the war is happening in the desert, aren't they injured as well? The head priest moved his right hand above his left hand and placed his chin on his right hand. He spoke in a solemn voice, they are, but who will help those unfortunate souls? Moreover, I have bigger things to care about. We cannot rely on Sinisha forever. I have to find a way to get them back. Is this why he asked for me? Veronica pondered. After gathering some courage, she questioned him, how can I help you? The head priest finally disclosed the reason behind his summon. You are going to Sinisha camp as a healer and going to investigate how the light took all of our healers. Helping people as a healer didn't surprise her, but doing investigation did make her flabbergasted. Me? How can I? That's a suicide. A sharp voice came from the open door. Saint Ava. Veronica stood up in surprise. She wasn't expecting her to come here. Her eyes landed on Saint Ava's feet. Looking at her empty feet, her eyes widened. Wait, she is barefooted. Don't tell me she walked on the snowy path barefooted. Ouch. Thinking how painful it would be walking in the stone, she flinched. I was sure to close the door, the head priest commented. He didn't want others to hear their conversation and interrupt them. He was so focused on talking to Veronica that he didn't notice when Saint Ava started eavesdropping on their conversation. You can lock the door, but you cannot hide from me. Saint Ava entered the room and protested, I'm against her going anywhere near war. She can't properly heal anyone completely with her limited power. She will become a hindrance. The head priest helplessly declared, we have to send our remaining healers to aid Sinisha. Saint Ava argued, without one won't make any difference. That's the king's order, the head priest announced. This is out of my hand. What? Saint Ava could hardly believe that. The head priest stated, he ordered to send her there to investigate. Veronica, who was quietly listening to their argument, finally opened her mouth, why me though? The head priest answered, you are the only one who lived in the Rosemary Temple. The king trusts your honesty and bravery. Veronica was confused. How does living there make me honest and brave? Saint Ava responded, did you think a person with devil's heart could live there that much longer? She let out a deep sigh. If he just knew how much hindrance she would cause. Veronica sulked. I'm not that bad. Even if I can't completely heal a scar, I can at least help a person recover. Or, you have been dead by now. She was right at that part. Saint Ava would have died in blood loss if she couldn't heal her injuries. No healer could heal their own wounds. The head priest clapped his hands. Excellent. My child, I think you are ready for this task. Veronica answered, count me in. Saint Ava was angry. Fine, do whatever you want. Don't come to me crying if you screw this. Cough. The head priest cleared his throat. Language, he warned her since Veronica was with them. Saint Ava glared at those two and then turned around and left. Will I be screwed? Veronica pondered while looking at the open door. Don't mind her, the head priest assured her. I'm not worried about her anger. I'm worried about me. But, she didn't say that out loud. The head priest said, I think you have brought whatever you needed, didn't you? Just don't forget to take a food pouch. What should I pack? She had no idea what he was talking about. The head priest questioned her, didn't you bring your clothes from the temple? I only had a temple uniform and this gown. She looked down at the dress she was wearing. I see. The head priest didn't expect her to be this poor. He surmised that Saint Ava would give her some clothes she made in her boredom. Since it wasn't the case, he gave her a pouch of money and instructed her, take this and buy something comfortable. Since you are not an official healer, we cannot allow you to wear a healer uniform. You are not part of the temple and so you cannot wear our uniform either. Some regular clothes will do. Take your friend with you. You should walk alone in the town. I can go to the town.